What's good, everyone? Welcome to another Live Wire Sports Media Update. This Sheryl Swoopes situation has become nuclear. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay with me.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't wanna miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
All right, so the Sheryl Swoopes saga continues. It's just like if you think it can't get any amplified, it's 10 times amplified more. It's keeping a great talking point for content creators, everybody else, mainstream media, whatever the case might be. So I'm gonna give you a little rundown here and there, and I'm not gonna spend too much time on it to get to the main point I'm talking about. Sheryl Swoopes, she was critical. She's been critical of Caitlin Clark since she was in college. Before she came out of college into the WNBA, she did that little interview with her during the preseason with the Dallas Wings game, and which we know it was pretty fake and phony. She's been on record numerous times on Gil's Arenas talking about how Caitlin takes 40 shots a game. She was a 6-year collegiate athlete, and then, discredit her for breaking the record, which that's all been bogus. All of that was false because she broke it in less games and in the amount of years, when she broke Kelsey Plum's record. We already know Kelsey Mitchell had the record before, then Kelsey Plum, and then Caitlin Clark. So, nonetheless, but Sheryl Swoopes continued to go on her Caitlin, disrespect tour. That's what I call it. And instead of, we don't see her, she works for the Dallas media or whoever, from Bally Sports and commentating. And like I said, I'm not gonna go too much into the whole thing. It just some of the things that we are accustomed to hearing Sheryl Swoopes. You got some of these Sheryl Swoopes apologists on X now, talk about, oh, you better leave Sheryl Swoopes alone. Like the F with you, y'all gonna do nothing. I mean, some of y'all gloss over the fact that Sheryl Swoopes abused her players when at Loyal, when she was coaching. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about her abuse. You know what I'm saying? But y'all want to sit here and say, "Oh, she's decorated. She's a champion, WNBA champion, Olympian, won a national title." Well, Caitlin Clark never won a national title. No, she hasn't. You're right. She has not won a championship in college, but she broke records in college. And that says a lot. That says just as much as winning a championship. And then just to look at what she's doing in the WNBA, it holds me why people just don't just say, hey, you know what? She's a phenomenal player. She's a generational player. So we already know that she came out. She got this little dumbass podcast, with the WNBA. She cuts out there. She talks about how the Indiana Fever, how they all doing great. And first time she came out and talked about, well, the Indiana Fever will make the playoffs because they have a better roster than the Chicago Sky. Even if they had Caitlin Clark on there or not, they would still make the playoff. That was asinine to say because you think about it, the damn Indiana Fever haven't been in the playoffs in the 7 years that Kelsey Mitchell has been there. And this is why, I get annoyed with certain media, certain content creators that, they cover the Chicago Sky and then try to take side shots at. And it's a few that I have in mind, but it's one particular because they go in and all talk about how Kelsey Mitchell is the best player on the team or whatever. But I could go into that a whole different topic. But anyway, So Cheryl Swoops goes on the next time talking about what the Indian Fever are hot right now. Talk about Kelsey Mitchell, she is a bucket. Lexi Hall playing out of her mind, shooting threes. So all my big Lexi Hall fan. But you went all the way around everybody else. Wow, mentioned the one person that has the greatest impact on the team, and that's Caitlin Clark. You see, this is where people always they want to discredit everything a person does for a team, but big up everybody else. Everybody else is getting, looked at on the team. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is getting looked at on the team, and just to go around that, so enter Stephen A. Smith. Now, Stephen A. Smith been you back and forth here and there, him and Shannon Sharp back and forth, with the women on ESPN, and now you don't even hardly hear from them. Elaine Duncan, she had to backtrack her statement because when Sheryl Swoopes attacked her, she apologized. But holy Stephen A. Smith been holding true. He says what he says, you know. But you say one thing on your podcast and you say one thing in front of ESPN because you know how ESPN works. But nevertheless, Sheryl Swoopes and Stephen A. Smith been back and forth with it. So Stephen A. Smith went on his podcast a couple of weeks ago and told critique Sheryl Swoopes for her asinine detailed comments about Caitlin Clark. So here comes Sheryl Swoopes come back, attacking him, saying you ain't listened to the whole show and all of this and all of that, blah, blah, blah. Then Stephen A. Smith comes back again, say, hey, I listened to the whole show, but we didn't know that Stephen A. was going to pull a nuclear bomb on this one. Shout out to Ben Daniels. I listened to his stuff last night, and he broke down a whole lot. And Chicks Dig Scars, they did a good job. A lot of other guys. So, but the main thing, the main factor to this whole situation is how delusional Sheryl Swoopes is. She think that what she's doing and what she's saying is right. You gotta be some seriously effed up in your head, mentally in your head, to think that what you're doing is normal. Now, I just listened to what CFW, if I'm pronouncing his YouTube channel right, yeah, CFWB God, and on his channel, and he's saying some stuff, and he was saying, Sheryl Swoopes come out and say, well, black people can't be racist. She said that on the Gil's podcast. But yeah, black people can be racist. There's no such shit in the world that black people can't be racist. But she has a distinct racial undertone of what she's doing. Because guess what? If Nancy Lieberman had came out and attacked Angel Reese or attacked Asia Wilson or attacked another black person in the media, there would have been a whole black uproar or black people uproar and calling for Nancy Lieberman head to have her removed, have her canceled. You see how this shit works? Black people want shit to be the way they want it to be, but then when white people do it, it's a problem. You want white people to be denounced so bad just to appease black people to where you have society and life all fucked up. I'm just calling it as it is. It can't be that way because nobody owes you shit. Nobody owes you nothing. So come to Sunday's game. Well, actually, a couple of weeks ago when Caitlin Clark and the feature caller won Players of the Week. One for rookie, one for NBA player. Now, the announcer that was on there for last Sunday's game was on there with Sheryl Swoopes calling the game. And he was calling the Wings game. I think the Wings playing the Aces, yeah. And he brought up Rookie of the Year, players of the week situation, and for about 50 seconds you didn't hear nothing from Sheryl Swoopes. Nothing. You didn't hear nothing from her. And as soon as Santu Sabali made a shot, then she commented. She made a comment in. That goes to show you her disdain, her disdain, her dislike for Caitlin Clark. Because if you like Caitlin Clark, you wouldn't be shunning her the way you doing her. You wouldn't at all. You wouldn't at all. Then come to this week, you were supposed to call the game, and then you got removed. Now, this is my take on it. I think, she's going to face some serious consequences because of her actions. See, she already got fired from coaching for being a bully. And then you got the nerve to get on Gil's Arenas and call Caitlin Clark a bully. But you doing it. You trying to show yourself as a bully by you bullied Ellen Duncan to apologize to you. Ellen didn't come out with one, but she came out with two damn statements. Then you try to pull that same crap on Stephen A. Smith, which he ain't falling for it. And you ain't saying nothing about Shannon Sharp because Shannon Sharp gonna say what he want to say, regardless of how much we think how wishy-washy they could be. But I think they kind of like standing on 10 toes right now on this subject because it fits their narrative too. So that's a subject for another day. So, like I said, enter Stephen A. Smith. He came with a nuclear bomb. Stephen A. got on his podcast yesterday right after first take because they had to shut Molly ass down because, Molly, she thinks she know everything and she, instead of be a damn a media, she just always, and she needed to stop putting all that damn Botox in her lips too. She's starting to look like a damn blowfish. Stephen A. Smith cleared up and went after Sheryl Swoopes again. But this time around, he came with backup. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look.
Somebody we both have incredible respect for in Sheryl Swoopes. Because I said, how do you mention the Indiana Fever and all of these other players and you don't mention Caitlin Clark, and then all of a sudden she gets on me and calls me a coward and all of this other stuff. I don't know what you can say about Sheryl Swoopes, but if there's anything that you could say, what would you want to say in terms of the narrative that has been put out there as it pertains to her coverage and her feelings about Caitlin Clark?
I called her when Caitlin was still playing at Iowa and she had just broken Maravich's record. And it was all over the place, as you and I have discussed, that there was this quote by Sheryl that said, Caitlin was, 25 years old. She was, however old, 24 years old. She was a fifth-year senior. Right. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate. And I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend. And I said, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody. But you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, hey, I made a mistake on my numbers, then this thing is over and everybody respects you for your opinion. Well, she got upset with me on the phone. And I was like, Sheryl, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm just sharing. We're talking. And so our relationship it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. Right. She didn't want to talk to me. My life's going to be good or great with or without Sheryl Swoopes in my life. I'd rather have her in it. If you're going to do an Indiana Wings game, you're going to have to talk about Caitlin Clark and her great teammates. When I was playing, you would have looked like an idiot if you didn't, when you talked about Old Dominion, two-time national champions and two-time player of the year, and you didn't talk about me. You'd look like you're ignorant.
And that's the issue. And that's the issue, Nancy, because I listen, and here's the thing. What incriminates, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but what incriminates somebody like Sheryl Swoopes even more, who, by the way, was supposed to be calling the game with y'all yesterday, and she did not call the game. And no doubt it had something to do with the fact that when you know, how Caitlin Clark had performed early in the week, she didn't want to talk about it at all. So we recognize that, and we know in television the way that I do. I know what producers do. I know what bosses do when you see, you know, your personal feelings, whatever they may be, infiltrating the proceedings and compromising your position as a professional. But I think it's to ignore the kind of things that she's ignoring when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're not wrong in saying that. And I would like to thank the Wings and Bally's for putting me on the game and asking me if I would do it. I will do anything for women's basketball. I'm just a servant leader here. I think she created this firestorm. She could put it out, and you know, Caitlin might not be her cup of tea, but she's not doing anything to hurt Sheryl Swoopes. She admires Sheryl Swoopes, and the
All right. So you listen and you seen and you heard that. And they're just a level of respect by Sheryl Lieberman. Now, like many of us have said, Sheryl Lieberman is the OG of OGs in the game. She even told a story about her playing at Rutgers Park. You know what I'm saying? She even talked about how she helped Sheryl Swoopes with her Nike deal with Jordan. But guess what Sheryl Swoopes did? She come back and respond because she don't have, see, when you respond in short answers and you don't come back with a lot of detail and receipts, then what the person is saying is pretty much factual. This is what Sheryl Swoopes had to say. She said, now, here we go. I get what you're trying to do with your boy, Stephen A. Smith, but it ain't working. You know good and well what happened. And ditto, my life is good without you too and him. You want to go there? So she's trying to make threats to Nancy Lieberman and Stephen A. Smith. But she got to understand, this is one thing Sheryl Swoopes got to understand. Just like you got fired from that college from abusing your players, Nancy Lieberman and Stephen A. Smith holds more weight in the media world than you do. Now, and if you really want to go there with Nancy and knowing how well respected she is, guess what? And for them to replace your ass Sunday and put Nancy in your spot, just like that, your career could be gone. That little shitty ass podcast that you have, gone. You calling Dallas games, gone. So Sheryl Swoopes, apparently if somebody's trying to talk to you and say, hey, you got this shit wrong, you got it all wrong, it doesn't hurt to say, you know what, hey, I messed up. But she's so, I can't even find a word for her. She is so toxic in her own self. I don't even say how she had a man or a woman in her life because she's toxic. She sits there with a level of disgust. But you want to big up Angel Reese over Caitlin Clark when you could just be celebrating both of these young ladies. Period. Cynthia Cooper, your running mate, who you had issues with doing y'all Houston run, because Cynthia Cooper was more popular than you was on the team. Cynthia Cooper was the OG on that team. Y'all don't win no championship without Cynthia Cooper and Kim Perrott. Oh yeah, y'all remember? I think I knew about little Kim Perrott. So Sheryl Swoopes, you sit there and think, and you end up getting pregnant in the beginning. So if you're going to try to throw information out there, yeah, all your accomplishments that everybody keeps slinging out there in the damn media world and on X, nobody gives a shit about that. Your accomplishments is your accomplishment, but the person that you become is a whole different thing. You see what I'm saying? Now check this out. 2 days, the day after Sunday's game, she want to come out here and throw up private conversations with her and Caitlin Clark. Now, why would you put Caitlin Clark on a front street if you had a private message for her, just so people could quote unquote say, see, oh, she don't hate Caitlin Clark. But if that was the truth, then everything that Stephen A. Smith and Nancy Lieberman say wouldn't be offensive to you. So this is what she had to do right here. She jumped on and said, hey, Caitlin, I just want to personally reach out to you and say I made a mistake on what year this was for you. COVID has really got me confused. LOL. First of all, COVID ain't gonna get you confused. Either you knew what the COVID year was for sports or you didn't. But you lied and said that Caitlin had, a COVID year, then she had another year, trying to say she had 6 years in college. So that was a bunch of bullshit right there when you was talking. Then she said, also, I have nothing but respect for you and your game and appreciate you, your skills, congratulate on everything you have accomplished this far. Be blessed. She said, be blessed. She didn't say God bless. You know what I'm saying? If you gotta pay attention to the undertones when people talking, because they say one thing and do another. She said, be blessed, which she's already blessed, but you can say God bless. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like, hey, continue on in your future. So Caitlin came back and said, no worries at all. Boom. She said, no worries at all. I really appreciate you reaching out, and there is no hard feelings. And see, this is by Caitlin. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, Caitlin's young, she naive and stuff. This girl is more self-aware than y'all really give her credit for. She smells bullshit a mile away. She ain't that dumb. You think she's naive? No, Caitlin is I'm gonna tell you something. Caitlin is developing that mentality, that Mamba mentality, that Jordan Ness mentality, that LeBron mentality. They know how to play with the media. They know what to say to people to make it like, hey, I'm good with you. But then again, turn around, I don't fuck with you. See, Jordan did it in your face. Kobe did it in your face. I ain't gonna fuck with you. If this is who you are, I ain't gonna fuck with you. As Caitlin get older and older and older, her personality is going to change more to where she's going to be an asshole to people and people ain't going to like it. She's already starting to be that way. But, she has endorsements. So she got to protect herself in a certain way. She just can't go out there and wilding, because if that's what the case, she'd have been going out there and everybody. And she said, well, I appreciate all you have done for the women's b-ball and for inspiring girls like me, building the foundation and platform we have today. Okay. And she gave her credit. Now, why, if you're going to do this privately in a text, why you can't do that shit publicly? Then people come out and say, well, she ain't got to say nothing she don't want to say. That's the dumbass mentality of how these people think. Like, oh, well, I ain't got to do nothing I don't want to do. I said what I said. That's how society just got people so effed up in their head to thinking that they shit don't stink. Then she said, you're very welcome. I really appreciate you and your game. You are taking it to a whole new level. Keep being great. Have a blessed night. And she said, with the praying hands 3 times, you too. So you see that, you read that, you listen to that, and everything else. Bottom line is, Sheryl Swoopes is full of shit. Point blank, period. There's no way to cut it. There's no way to talk about it. It's just what it is. Now, my last piece of video clip is from Shannon Sharp. Now, I think this is today, or last night from the nightcap. where he was talking about, you know, the OGs that lay foundation to the game, that nobody does it in the NBA. He said, well, you know, when Jordan and Magic and Bird and Isaiah and Jordan, all of them came along, Kobe and, you know, LeBron, they don't go back and say, well, give credit to this person, give credit to that person. They thank you, they watch these, but in the WNBA, these women want to be acknowledged for every damn thing that they did. You paved the way, pass the fucking torch. Diana Taurasi been in the game 20 years. She's passing the torch. Matter of fact, you could say she's passing the torch to Caitlin Clark. It would have been saying, yeah, she could pass it to Sabrina Ionescu, but hell, Caitlin Clark is more of her speed than anything. She's passing to Caitlin Clark. What Caitlin Clark is doing for the game right now, 20 years later, young girls will say, oh, I remember Caitlin Clark. She did this for the game. They're going to pay homage to her. And then they're going to transcend. So let me play this last clip, and then I'm going to close out.
Tries to correct me, and I sever a relationship, or I'm no longer on speaking terms, we never had a friendship to begin with. There's no possible way. And I don't get. See, this is what I'm having a hard time with, Ocho, is because, and a lot of times what I've gotten, and I'm not going to talk because I've talked to some of these great legendary WNBA players, and they tell me, Shannon, don't forget about the old guard.
Mm-hmm.
When Magic and Bird, they say Magic and Bird saved the NBA. They didn't say nothing about Wilt, Kareem. They didn't say anything about Mr. Russell. They didn't say about Connie Hawkins, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. I don't give her, look, whatever you might think, never in the history, and there have been some great players came in with this kind of fanfare. Candace Parker was tremendous. Rookie of the Year and MVP and a defensive player of the year. She's great. Maya Moore, Stewie, all of these women were more accomplished college players than Caitlin Clark. But there's a reason why you had a record watching the WNBA draft. There's a reason why the record attendance. There's a reason why jersey sales and ticket sales are up. Instead of trying to be dismissive of the role that she's playing and try to say, well, y'all not talking about well, come on. When we talk about Luka and Jokic and this one, they don't automatically go back and start, well, you remember what Bill Russell did? You remember what this one did? They don't do that, guys. Come on, women.
So the thing about it is that you don't what you have done for the game and pay. It's just like baseball. Everybody pay homage to Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, all of these people, pioneers, because they were able to open the door for King Griffey. All of these guys. And you think Barry Bonds, all of these guys. They don't go back and say, oh, well, we need to acknowledge them for what they did. You're giving them a knowledge by playing the game great and showing respect to the game. See, this is what Sheryl Swoopes forgot. But now she wants to come out here now because I remember when Lance Lieberman had addressed the issue about Trinity Carter, and she said she would have punched her in her face. So Sheryl Swoopes came out here and said, well, oh, Stephen A., you forgot to ask her about this. You know what I'm saying? So she's trying to dig up stuff a little bit here and there. But hell, if I was Caitlin Clark, I would punch the shit out of Kennedy Carter in her face for doing what she did. So, but anyway, y'all get the point. Sheryl Swoopes she's on a nuclear implosion. She's imploding in front of our eyes. She's not gonna have a career in media for very long, guys. I'm booking that. I guarantee you, she would not call another Dallas game after this season. After this season, she probably won't be on their network no more. Because you got to think, Caitlin Clark ain't going nowhere. And I think the WNBA is not going to allow Caitlin Clark to be targeted by the media, by somebody that's constantly coming after her and has a podcast. I would sever ties with her and say, look, you're going to have to take your podcast and find a new somebody else to uphold it. But I can't sponsor that because of your bias towards her. See, what you do, you shut a person down, you make them humble. But I don't think Sheryl Swoopes will ever be humble. I think she'll be the same nasty, undertone racist person that she is. Yeah, and I said it. So till then, just your boy Livewire Sports Media. Hit the comments below. Let me know what you think about the whole situation. Trust me, this story ain't going away no time soon. But as I do with all of my videos, you know what it is.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.